world of K-pop, the term self-produced gets thrown around a lot. But when Big Hit Music, the house that built BTS and TXT, announced their first boy group in 6 years, they didn't just call them idols. They called them a young creator crew. Enter Cordis. Since their debut in August 2025, they've been tearing up the rulebook, proving that you don't need a decade of experience to be the mastermind behind your own hits. Today, we're diving into everything you need to know about the 5 teens who are literally coloring outside the lines of the industry. Cordis, short for Color Outside the Lines, is a 5-member boy group under Big Hit Music. They officially debuted on August 18th, 2025 with the digital single, What You Want. The name itself already explains their identity. Color Outside the Lines represents freedom, creativity, and breaking away from expectations. Instead of following the standard idol formula, Cordis was introduced as a group that creates beyond boundaries. The company described them as a young creator crew, emphasizing that the members actively participate in songwriting, music production, choreography, performance directing, visual concepts, music video production. Even before debut, reports stated that some members had already contributed creatively to projects involving senior HYBE artists. That's rare for rookies. Most rookie groups are still trying to find their identity after debut. Cordis debuted with one. And that identity is authenticity, not perfection, not polished distance, but creativity, experimentation, and self-expression. That's why so many fans connected with them immediately. Because Cordis doesn't feel like a group pretending to be artists. They feel like artists who just happened to debut as idols. For a rookie group, Cordis moved fast. Like, ridiculously fast. Within months of debut, they became one of the most discussed 5th-generation boy groups online, especially for their creative involvement and performance quality. Most groups dream of a million-seller status years into their career. Cordis? They did it with their debut album. And this is where things get genuinely crazy. Because Cordis didn't just have a strong debut. They exploded. In less than 9 months after debut, the group started collecting achievements that many rookie groups spend years trying to reach. If their award growth was impressive, their streaming numbers were even crazier. Because Cordis didn't just gain attention in Korea, they started spreading globally fast. And so on. Also, their social media growth is consistent, which proves their organic growth and popularity. For a group that hadn't even reached their first anniversary yet, that level of momentum was honestly insane. And what makes it even crazier is how fast it happened. And they're not doing it alone. Their fans' core have been there from the start, cheering for every step and celebrating every milestone. Cordis often say they draw strength from core, calling them the reason they keep creating without limits. Before debuting, Cordis was one of the most mysterious projects under HYBE. Fans knew Big Hit was preparing a new boy group years after BTS and TXT, but almost nothing was officially revealed for a long time. Rumors exploded online. People analyzed trainee photos, speculated lineups, connected old trainee appearances. The anticipation kept growing because this was Big Hit's first boy group in 6 years after TXT. Then things escalated when HYBE officially announced the group in 2025. But what made people really curious was the way Big Hit described them. Not as a traditional idol team, but as creators. Their pre-debut track, Go, came out on August 10th, 2025, and all 5 members participated in the songwriting, composition, choreography, even co-directing the music video. That pre-debut release was important because it told fans something very early. This group was not waiting to be handed a creative identity, they were making one themselves. Their documentary, What We Want, reveals the raw reality of their pre-debut days, showing them at a songwriting camp in LA, scrapping entire tracks, and arguing over creative visions to find their true sound. Cortis officially debuted on August 18th, 2025 with What You Want. The debut era immediately stood out because the group brought a very performance-driven style, including choreography performed on treadmills, which helped the comeback feel memorable and different. Their debut EEP, Color Outside the Lines, arrived on September 8th, 2025, along with Fashion, completing a debut rollout that felt like a full creative statement rather than a simple introduction. The debut also attracted massive attention because expectations were insanely high. Debuting under Big Hit means comparisons are unavoidable. People immediately started asking, can they become the next BTS? Can they follow TXT's success? Are they actually talented or just hyped? And honestly, Cortis handled that pressure surprisingly well. Instead of trying to imitate their seniors, they focused on building their own identity. That's probably why they stood out so quickly. Cortis currently has a focused but impactful discography built around self-expression and experimentation. Their songs often feel youthful, restless, emotional, and cinematic at the same time. Like you're watching a coming-of-age movie in music form.
Every day's another day conquer. Spread it up, yeah, feel the hunger. Spending like a teen, like they gon' mention me every time my name be ringing bells. They gon' mention me every time they gossip with they friends. They gon' mention pumping up, sorry shit. I say what, she and we. I bet I had it again, shit on the mic is a green. Probably that's red. No, she not sappy, Work up, dig it, I just chop on that I eat. I drive my cup. Teppanyaki on my man cup. I go yoga cut. Every time you see me on myself, that might go there with chop. I be to watch you when we gon' leave. My blue leaves.
But before talking about the members individually, there's something important people noticed about Cortis almost immediately: their bond. And honestly, it doesn't feel manufactured at all.
뭔가 회사에서는 연습생을 하면서 뭔가 또 그런 약간 크루 같은 걸 만들고 싶었어요.
네.
그래서 뭔가 아직 데뷔도 안 했고 데뷔조도 아니지만
네.
뭔가 거기 연습생 제 또래 친구들이랑 다 같이 모여서 음악 작업하고 막 믹스테이프 만들고 우리 여기 위에 이번에는 진짜 막 멋있는 뮤비를 한번 찍어볼까? 이래서 막 찍고 있었는데 나중에 이제 정말 저희 코르티스 멤버들끼리 팀이 되었을 때 그런 활동을 계속 하다 보니까 본 앨범까지 그렇게 제작에 참여하게 되었던 것 같아요. 사실 되게 막
The members have talked multiple times about how they were originally just trainees making music together. Not a finalized idol lineup, not a carefully assembled project group, just teenagers creating, practicing, filming, and growing together. And eventually, Cordis was formed around that connection, which honestly explains a lot. Because when you watch them together, they don't feel awkward like many rookie groups during their first years. They genuinely feel comfortable around each other.
I think us five is already Cordis. We're named Cordis, and I think if one leave, it won't be Cordis anymore. So yeah, and we gotta stick together.
Another interesting thing about Cordis is that similar to their senior label mates TXT, the group doesn't really focus on strict fixed positions. Other than Martin officially being the leader, the members are all trained across multiple areas: vocals, dance, rap, performance, creativity, and production. Which is why fans often describe Cordis as an all-rounder group. Instead of each member fitting into only one role, every member contributes differently depending on the song, concept, and performance. And honestly, that flexibility is one of the biggest reasons their performances feel so dynamic. So, now let's talk about each member individually. Let's start with the leader of Cordis, Martin. And honestly, Martin's musical journey started long before debut. Back in 2018, Martin was actually part of the Rainbow Choir that performed during the Pyeongchang Winter Olympics. Which honestly feels kind of surreal looking back now. Because even at a young age, music was already becoming a huge part of his life. But singing wasn't the only thing that shaped him.
3학년 때였나? 아버지가 FL 스튜디오를 컴퓨터에 깔아놓으셨었거든요. 또 음악 좋아하니까 아빠가 재밌는 게임 하나 설치해놨으니까 게임 한번 해봐 이러면서 그걸 들어가서 해보니까 재밌는 거예요. 취미처럼 하자 이랬는데 어느새 되게 진지해져 있더라고요.
Even before many fans fully realized it, Martin had already started building creative involvement inside Cordis Music. He currently holds credits in production composition, songwriting for songs such as And honestly, that creative involvement is a huge reason why many fans see Martin as the emotional and artistic center of the group. But of course, Martin isn't just a producer. He's also one of the most versatile performers in Cordis. Whether it's singing, rapping, or eye-catching choreography on stage. Martin has this explosive energy that instantly grabs attention. He feels unpredictable in the best way possible. One second he's fully focused inside the studio, talking seriously about music production, and the next second he's being loud, chaotic, competitive, and making the members lose their minds. That contrast honestly makes him even more interesting to watch. Because behind all the chaos, there's still a genuinely passionate artist who clearly loves creating music. And that passion shows up in everything he does on stage, in the studio, and in the way he leads Cordis. James might have one of the wildest journeys in Cordis. Because before dance, before idol training, and before K-pop, his life was actually centered around sports. James reportedly played ice hockey for nearly 10 years, continuing until around his second year of middle school. And honestly, once you know that, a lot about him suddenly makes sense. The discipline, the stamina, the explosiveness on stage. It all feels connected. But eventually, his path started changing completely. After years focused on sports, James began learning dance, and that decision basically changed the direction of his life. In 2020, at only 14 years old, he moved to Korea to chase his dream, which is honestly insane when you think about it. New country, new language, new culture, and one of the most competitive industries in the world. James briefly trained under YG Entertainment before later transferring to Big Hit Entertainment near the end of 2020. And according to fans and pre-debut followers, he was reportedly included in the debut lineup almost immediately after joining, which says a lot about how talented he already was. Then, in March 2021, James was officially revealed as part of Trainee A, the pre-debut project that quickly gained massive attention online. At the time, many people already saw him as one of the standout trainees because of his performance skills and stage presence. But then, everything suddenly changed. In December 2022, Trainee A's debut was canceled. And honestly, for many fans, it felt heartbreaking. Years of training, years of expectations. And suddenly, the future became uncertain. But James never disappeared. In July 2023, fans noticed him performing as a backup dancer during Jungkook's 7 promotions. And that moment quietly confirmed something important. He was still there, still training, still chasing the dream. And eventually, that journey led him to Cordis. But James isn't just a performer. He's also heavily involved creatively behind the scenes. In 2024, alongside fellow member Martin, James participated in writing and composing for songs connected to HYBE label's artists. Some of the most notable examples include, and he also participated in their own choreographies, as well as
TXT 선배님의 데자뷰, 아일리 선배님의 마그네틱 좀 참여를 하게 됐고요. 틱택은 이 동작을 만들었습니다.
which honestly explains why his understanding of performance feels so detailed. He's not just learning choreography. He understands how performances are built. And outside of music, James is also known for having practiced Taekwondo for years, which probably contributes to his precision and control while dancing. Another thing fans constantly praise about him is his language ability. James can speak English, Chinese, Thai, Korean, and he's also learning Japanese through the company, which makes him one of the most multilingual members in the group. And honestly, that global background really shaped his personality and stage identity. But of course, the reason people get obsessed with James so quickly is because of his talent. Whether it's vocals, rap, or absolutely destroying choreography on stage. James performs with an intensity that's almost impossible to ignore. His movements are sharp, aggressive, and ridiculously controlled at the same time. He doesn't perform like someone memorizing choreography. He performs like someone who genuinely understands the music from the inside out. And honestly, that's what makes James one of the most exciting performers in Cordis. Jihoon feels like someone who's been collecting skills his entire life. Because long before debuting in Cordis, he was already doing basically everything. Jihoon first debuted as a kids model while still in elementary school and worked with multiple fashion brands from a young age, which honestly explains why he already looks so natural in front of cameras. Even during rookie years, some idols still look nervous during shoots. But Jihoon genuinely moves like someone who grew up around cameras and stages. But modeling wasn't his only focus growing up. Not even close. Jihoon was also heavily involved in sports, playing as a starting member for AAFF CFC, Seoul Chungnam Pro Division, Samsung Thunder's youth basketball team. And according to fans, he even traveled to Spain for soccer training during his youth athlete years. Which honestly sounds less like a trainee backstory and more like the resume of someone trying every possible career at once. And somehow, that still wasn't all. As a child, Jihoon was known for being extremely curious and constantly wanting to try new things. So, alongside sports, he also learned piano, flute guitar, marimba, and even performed percussion instruments as part of a school orchestra. He was also reportedly known for being fast enough to consistently place first during school relay races. So basically, he was that student who somehow did everything: sports, music, modeling, academics, and somehow still looked good doing it. Originally, Jihoon's childhood dream was actually to become a soccer player. But before entering high school, his path suddenly changed after being cast by Big Hit Music. After receiving short-term training, he officially joined the company as a trainee in early 2024 and was eventually added to the Cordis debut lineup. And honestly, considering how quickly he adapted, it's hard to believe he was the last to join. Another thing fans quickly noticed about Jihoon is his language ability. He can speak both Korean and English, and fans often praise how naturally confident he sounds while speaking English, which adds even more to his global appeal as an idol. But Jihoon isn't just visuals and athleticism. He's also creatively involved in music. He currently holds credits in... And then there's his performance ability. Whether it's vocals, Rap.
But I ain't tryna blame you, just a baby. 너나 써도 되는 뱅을 찾으려서 말라. Second 필요 여전히 난 생생. 얼큰ք들 모여 you. 텐션 맞지 않아 다시 버려줘. You already know.
Or powerful choreography on stage. Jihoon performs with this really sharp, confident energy that immediately catches attention. And because of his background in sports and modeling, his body control and camera awareness feel incredibly natural. He knows exactly how to command attention without overdoing it. Seunghyun's story feels like one of the biggest examples of how early dedication can completely change someone's life. Back in 2018, when he was still in elementary school, Seunghyun visited Lot World and was cast by Big Hit Entertainment. Which probably sounds unreal to most people. Imagine going to an amusement park as a kid and somehow walking away with the start of your idol career. Then in 2021, while still only in the 6th grade, Seunghyun officially began trainee life seriously. And what makes this even more emotional is that his entire family reportedly moved to Seoul to support his dream, which honestly says a lot about how much belief and sacrifice went into his journey before debut even happened. Before becoming an idol, Seunghyun apparently dreamed of becoming either a robot scientist or a soccer player, which somehow feels extremely random and adorable at the same time. But eventually, music became the path he fully committed to. And once he started training, he became deeply involved in songwriting and composition. According to Seunghyun himself, whenever he has free time, he enjoys searching for songs by new artists and studying music. And during his trainee years alone, he reportedly worked on over 100 tracks, which is honestly insane considering how young he still is. That level of consistency explains why many fans see him as one of the most musically passionate members in the group. But despite all that serious artistic dedication, the members actually chose Seunghyun as the member who makes them laugh the most. Because his laugh is so unique that once he starts laughing, everyone else starts laughing too. Which honestly feels very on brand for Cordis. And before debut, there was even a period where fans mistakenly believed his name was Song Ha-jun. So, for a while, the fandom was basically standing the wrong identity entirely. But of course, once Seunghyun officially debuted, people quickly realized how talented he actually is. Whether it's vocals, rap, or performances on stage. Seungyeon has this really expressive performance style that pulls people in, and that's probably why so many fans connect to him so quickly. Like, you can tell he truly loves what he does. And finally, we have the youngest member of Cordis Keono, the maknae. And honestly, Keono's pre-debut story sounds almost unreal. Back in 2018, when he was still in the 3rd grade of elementary school, Keonho was waiting at a bus stop after swimming practice with an older friend when he was cast by Big Hit Entertainment. At first, he reportedly refused because he thought he shouldn't talk to strangers. And when they asked for contact information, he apparently said he didn't even know his own phone number, which honestly feels like the most 9-year-old response possible. But eventually, that random moment at a bus stop became the beginning of his idol journey. Before becoming a trainee, Keonho was actually a swimmer, and not just casually. He reportedly competed seriously until the beginning of middle school and was known for being extremely skilled. According to pre-debut information, he won 1st place in competitions, broke records, and specialized in backstroke, even though he originally started with freestyle swimming. And honestly, once you watch his performances now, the athlete background becomes very obvious. Because swimming reportedly helped him develop stamina flexibility, body control, which later became incredibly useful for dancing and performing on stage. Another small detail fans love is that during the Weverse class concept photo shoot, each member used a meaningful prop connected to themselves. And for Keonho, it was swimming goggles, a reminder of the sport that shaped so much of his childhood. Keonho officially began trainee life in 2022 while still in his 1st year of middle school, which honestly means he spent some of his most important teenage years growing up inside the trainee system. And before fans officially knew his identity, there were already tons of rumors surrounding him online. At one point, people even believed he was another trainee named Lee Se-jin, but later, after fans discovered his swimmer profile connected to the Korea Sports Council portal, his real identity as Ahn Gaeun-ho, born in 2009, became known. And somehow, before debuting, one of the things that made him unexpectedly viral was literally a video of him eating French fries. For a while, fans genuinely referred to him as the French fries guy, which honestly feels very fitting for a future Cordis member. But once Keonho officially debuted, people quickly realized he was much more than just a viral pre-debut clip. Whether it's vocals,
Trippy goes on the best squad. Yeah, yeah. Put on the way Poseidon-까지.
rap,
생이 나의 패션 사ገል지 뭐까지 뒤로 came back 인생이 폭풍이면 안돼 drip 아래 쳐 rain
or intense choreography performances.
내 폰에 내 담아서 거리로 나가서 다섯시 고기를 빙빙 이 꼴이 놀아가
Keonho performs with a level of confidence that honestly feels shocking for someone so young. His expressions are powerful, his movements are sharp, and his stamina on stage is genuinely impressive, which probably comes from years of athletic training before idol life even started. And like the other members of Cortis, Keonho is also involved creatively through production-related work and music creation credits, which continues the group's overall identity as artists who actively participate in their own music and performances. But honestly, one of the biggest reasons fans love Keonho is the contrast he brings to the group. On stage, he can feel charismatic and surprisingly powerful. Then off stage, he suddenly becomes the adorable, chaos-filled maknae eating fries and annoying the members. And that balance between professionalism and pure teenage energy is a huge reason why people became attached to him so quickly. Cortis debuted in one of the most competitive eras of K-pop. Huge expectations, massive pressure, constant comparisons. And yet somehow, instead of getting lost in the noise, they created their own lane. That's what makes them interesting. Not just because they're talented, but because they genuinely seem passionate about creating. Whether it's producing music, directing visuals, building choreography, filming content, telling stories through performance, Cortis feels less like a manufactured project and more like 5 young artists growing in real time. And honestly, that journey is probably why so many people are becoming emotionally attached to them already. Because with Cortis, it doesn't feel like you're just watching idols debut. It feels like you're watching creators build a world together. And this is probably only the beginning.